Hello, this is Marcy Fratkin, and we're today going to be talking about community colleges in the United States. Um, I am from Shoreline Community College, and I have my colleague here, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Lisa Hirayama, and I am formerly of Shoreline Community College. I worked at the college for many years as an academic advisor, and I'm now working at Seattle Pacific University here in Seattle as an international admissions counselor.
So we're going to talk about the advantages of community college, and we're also going to talk about the transfer process to university. President Obama is one of the biggest supporters of community colleges, and we really see community college as a gateway to all your educational needs. If it's a, and there's very many different degrees and things you can accomplish at a community college. This is a quote from NOVA, which is one Northern Virginia Community Colleges, which is one of the largest community colleges in the United States. And they really talk about how community college is a foundation for whatever else you want to do in your life. And I think this is a really wonderful quote explaining the importance of community college and how it can play an important role in your life, no matter what your future goals are. There are over 1,200 community colleges across the United States, and there's about 5,000 universities and community colleges in the United States. So when we talk about the top 100 universities, that's pretty high accomplishment where some countries don't even have 100 universities. So there's about 5,000 universities and colleges in the U.S. and about 1,200 community colleges, and each of these dots represent a community college across the United States. There's many different pathways to education in America, and this slide explains the different pathways to education in America. The bachelor's degree, there's two ways of obtaining that, where you go directly to university for 4 years, or you do the 2+2 program, which we're going to talk a lot about today. The other thing you can do at community college, is also technical degrees, and we'll talk about that as well today. But here's some fast facts on community college. Most community colleges provide the first 2 years of a university education. We provide general education, so no matter if you're a math major or if you're a theater major, everyone has to take some general education, which is some math, some literature, some humanities, and some science. Community colleges here really are the pathway to university. Is one of the biggest reasons people go to community college, and most of those courses will transfer to university. We are accredited by the same organization that accredits universities, University of Washington or Harvard. The same organizations will inspect a community college to make sure it's up to standards. Most community colleges are government schools. And about half of Americans start their education at community college. I went to community college first. I went to college at Duke. There are many famous people who attended community college and from many different fields. And so it's always, a good pathway for students. And it doesn't matter if you want to be a fashion designer, if you want to be a scientist, or if you want to be an artist. It's a very good pathway, and I always say it's the smart people who start a community college, and we'll talk about why they're smart to do that. There are currently over 94,000 international students studying at community colleges. The reason I really love community colleges is they focus on teaching. A lot of universities also have a big research part of their activities. So a lot of the classes maybe are not taught by actual professors, but taught by graduate assistants or teaching assistants in the first 2 years. It really depends on the college size and the goal of that university. We also offer intensive English. We have a very supportive learning environment. Since community colleges are focused on students and student learning, we really do everything to support the students. Most community colleges, the average class size is 25 students. Where a lot of research universities in the first 2 years, your classes could range from anywhere from 50 to 500 students in a class. That's a research university. There's some smaller universities that definitely have smaller classes. We have limited admissions requirements. A lot of community colleges don't require a TOEFL, but no community college requires the SAT. And then we're also very experienced in doing transfer programs to universities. Like I said, it's a pathway to many different things, and a community college can provide a lot of different things. Of course, as we talked about, we have the university transfer program. We have the high school completion and university transfer program, which we'll also talk about today, and that's only available in the state of Washington. We have professional technical degrees, which we'll talk some about. And if you just want to come and experience learning English in the United States, we have ESL programs. And then our newest program here at Shoreline is a pre-MBA program, so a certificate programs. Like I said, we have this 2+2 program. So in America, a bachelor's degree is 4 years, and you can do your first 2 years at Shoreline and then your last 2 years at university. And the reason you would do that is smaller class sizes, lower tuition, no SAT, and it really gives you a chance to get a solid foundation in the American education system. You can start at Shoreline and study almost anything you want. So as you see here, we have a lot of different majors at our school, and there's a lot of different things available to students. Everything from African American studies to world languages to engineering. Shoreline or a community college can be a pathway to any degree you want almost. And so, some community colleges may be specialized, but I would say, on average, the education you get at most community colleges is equivalent to university, and there's not a great difference. Community colleges do not have any ranking because we're there to support the students and focused on student learning. I'm going to pass this over to Lisa now, and she'll talk about the transfer process from a university perspective and her perspective of being an advisor here at Shoreline.
Okay, thank you, Marcy. Transferring, I would say that at Shoreline at least, probably about 90% of the international students are planning to transfer on to a university. And I think that's typical at the community colleges for international students. And transferring can be challenging. As Marcy said, there are thousands of universities in this country. So how do students have any idea what kinds of classes to take? That's what we'll talk about now. The good news is that there is lots of help available to students at the community colleges with their planning. One of the main resources for international students at community colleges are the academic advisors. They're sort of the core, I think, of the support system here for international students. And being at community colleges as advisors, the main thing that we do is help students with planning to transfer to university. There's lots of tools that advisors use at the community colleges. This is one of them. At Shoreline, we have what are called planning guides, and these are papers that show students kind of the pathway through the associate's degree. So students can follow one of these plans, and there are many of them depending on what the student's goal is. These two that are on the screen happen to both be associate in science planning sheets for students who want to go into a science field, but we have others preparing students for different social science majors, for communications, for business, basically any different field that they're interested in. So they work their way through these planning guides with their advisor's assistance and finish their associate's degree here. And one of the things that the advisors do with those planning guides is help students create an academic plan. So this is just an example of what I would do with a student who was interested in this case, finishing a pre-business plan as well as a high school diploma. So we kind of chart out quarter by quarter what that student would take. Of course, there's some flexibility there, but at least it gives the student an idea of how long it's going to take them and a suggested pathway of classes to take. Most of the community colleges, and certainly at Shoreline, we have a transfer center available to students. And so in that transfer center, there are lots of resources. There are books about universities. We have university profile sheets that the advisors here have put together with just basic information about universities that are most popular with the students on this campus, at least. Information about websites and other resources in the transfer center. And the advisors at the community colleges and certainly at Shoreline also put together a series of workshops and seminars every quarter. Some examples are Transfer 101, where we talk with students about some of the things to think about when they're planning to transfer and when they're looking for a university. Um, a workshop perhaps on writing personal statements, which is a part of most university applications. On how to choose a major, how do students figure out what they want to study or what kind of career they want in the future? That's another workshop topic. So many different workshops are offered by the advisors. Um, as I mentioned, there are lots of different things for students to think about, and these are some of the things that we help students think through in that Transfer 101 workshop and just on a one-to-one basis in advising. That students need to think about the size of the school and what is important to them. Um, the cost, uh, there's quite a range of tuition prices at schools in the United States. Do they want to be in an urban environment or a more rural environment? Where in the United States do they want to be? Public versus private schools, and sometimes the size and the cost is related to that. Do they want to be at a school that has a large international population, or do they want to be unique at the university? Um, so all kinds of things that students need to think about, including do they have many classes and professors in your major? I can think of students, for example, that I know have come and talked about some universities where they'd like to study business, but they don't realize that that particular university maybe doesn't offer a business major. So these are some of the things that advisors will help students think through. And at the community colleges, there usually are university transfer fairs offered, often several times during the year. I know at Shoreline, we have, for the past few years, we've offered university transfer fairs about twice a year. Usually there are between 80 and 100 universities from all across the United States um, that attend these fairs, and they are specifically focused on international students, and so this has been a great resource for students to get information directly from the schools that they might be considering. And then on the university side, now I'll switch and wear my university hat. But on the university side, there are resources for students as well in terms of transferring. This is just an example of a system that the California schools have called Assist. And on their website, they students are able to access information about particular community colleges and how that particular school's classes might transfer to one of the schools in California. So this is a really complex but really helpful system that the California schools have put together. Right here in Seattle, we have the University of Washington, and one of the resources that they have for students coming from community colleges are what they call planning worksheets. And these are major by major, so each different major will have its own unique planning worksheet that talks about, first of all, how many students have transferred from the community colleges, what the typical or average grade point average has been for those students, and then the most important piece of information for students on these planning worksheets is what specific classes do they need to take to prepare for that major. So as an advisor at Shoreline, I use these very often with students, even students who were not planning to go to the University of Washington specifically, but just as a general guideline for what students should be taking to prepare for any specific major. And then a lot of universities have course transfer guides on their website. This is an example from my university, Seattle Pacific, which shows how courses from, let's see, it was Idaho State University might transfer to Seattle Pacific. So it'll take a specific course and show you the equivalent course at the university. And as I said, a lot of universities have these type of transfer guides, and they're really helpful for students and for advisors in trying to put a plan together for transferring. And then most universities have a lot of different campus visit events. Again, this is from my specific university, Seattle Pacific, but we offer several times during the year an open house specifically for transfer students. So the advantage for international students being at the community colleges in the United States are that they're already in the country and it's easier for them obviously to attend some of these on-campus events. But it's a great chance for them to experience the university firsthand, to get some information right from the university. Um, and so as an advisor at Shoreline, I was very often suggesting to students that they take advantage of these opportunities. There's no charge for them. Students usually can attend a class, meet professors in the departments that they're interested in, have a campus tour, talk to admissions counselors. So these are great opportunities, and basically every university offers these. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Marcy to talk about other programs at the community colleges.
So this is actually a program that Lisa started, which was on conditional guaranteed admission here at Shoreline. And this is where we work very closely with a university, and we are able to issue 2 letters of admittance when they are accepted to Shoreline. So they will get a letter of admittance from Shoreline, and they will get a letter of admittance from one of these universities that says, Dear Jane, you have been conditionally admitted to University of Oregon or Evergreen, and we have many schools, and we're constantly adding schools to this list. And it says but you have to meet A, B, C, D requirement to be officially accepted. So a lot of times this helps the students see the pathway they'll be going to, but it also gives them an opportunity to show their parents, yes, I have a long-term plan, or even show the embassy, this is my long-term plan. So I think it makes students feel a little bit more comfortable because they go, oh, I only know what I'm doing for the first 2 years. Well, with conditional admissions, they have another possible pathway. But to be honest, a lot of our students go to more prestigious universities, I hate to say, than this list. Our students are very high achievers here at Shoreline, and our students have transferred to over 154 universities across the United States. In America, we're on a 4.0 GPA, grade point average, and our average grade point average of a graduating international student is 3.54, which you'd be surprised is not good enough to get into some of these schools, actually. University of Washington's Business School, often their GPA is much higher. UC Berkeley, for a lot of its majors, especially engineering, their majors are higher. So, 3.5 is very competitive, grade point average, but sometimes it's still not good enough. Also, when universities, or you're considering a university, when the university is looking at you, they want to see what other activities students have been being involved in. And that's something that we really excel at Shoreline, is getting the students out of their everyday of just going to class, and teaching them that in an American system, being part of clubs, being a student leader is really, really important. So that's about the 2+2. Like I said, I wanted to highlight our high school completion program, which is only available in the state of Washington. And this program, students are allowed to start at age 16 and study both high school and university at the same time. I always explain this as this is sort of the reverse of advanced placement courses, where you're in high school. Sometimes some schools have advanced placement where you're taking high school classes that will double count to fulfill university requirements. Here in the high school completion program, or early college, some people call it, you're taking university level courses which are double counting to fulfill high school obligations and university requirements. So most students are able to complete this in 6 to 8 quarters if their English is good. And the example I like to use, if you take Biology 101, that one course will fill 2 obligations. So if you start at Shoreline when you're 16, you have good English, you could potentially graduate with your bachelor by the time you're 20 and graduate with your master's by the time you're 21 or 22. So it's a really good program. This program is only available to international students. To be honest, that a lot of times high school students from other countries are a little bit more advanced than American students. We encourage the student to be pretty mature because they're going to have a lot of responsibility on themselves. And these students typically live in homestay families. Here's a little diagram explaining the program. So like I said, they leave high school when they're 16 or 17, join our program, and in 2 years, they have completed both their high school diploma from the state of Washington and the first 2 years of university at community college. It's a great pathway, great way to save some money, especially if you're in a private school in your home country. And we've had a lot of students achieve very well on this program. If you just want to come to learn English or you need some English before you start university or before you start community college, whichever way your pathway, we offer 6 levels of ESL at Shoreline, and most schools do that. That is how we are able to not require a student to have a TOEFL or IELTS before they come. It is optional because we will here at Shoreline will test students on their English ability. And I would say probably about 70% of community colleges in America are going this pathway, but some do require a TOEFL or IELTS. And like I said, if you just wanted to come for 1 quarter and learn English, that's totally fine. So we have 6 levels. Our top 3 levels are Bridge, where students are taking academic classes and ESL, English as a second language, together. Our other program we have here is professional and technical degrees. And these are for students, it's more of a terminal degree. Usually these students are not transferring to university, and probably about 2% of our community college international community college students are doing this. Some of them are certificates like our pre-MBA. Some of them are just 1 quarter programs or qualifications, and some of them are actually almost 3 years like our nursing program. Some of them are very competitive to get into. Our nursing program is very competitive to get into. It has a 1-year prerequisite course, and then it's a 2-year nursing program. But a student will graduate with a terminal degree in being an RN, and they can transfer if they want to get a BA or BS as well in nursing. But a lot of students just go with that because it's a very high qualification. We also have clean energy technology. Shoreline really cares about the environment, early childhood education, web design, which can be 2 pathways. Some people want the 4-year degree, and some people want more the technical degree. You have less general education requirements in these technical degrees. And then I think our funnest program here at Shoreline is our music technology. It's for people who want to be music producers, who want to do sound mixing, and we've had a lot of success with that. In fact, here at Shoreline, we have a Grammy Award-winning studio in program. So I think this is up there on one of the top 3 reasons why to attend community college. My tuition here at Shoreline, with everything included, including cost of the living, is around almost $18,000. Most universities, the cheapest university I know of, with everything included, probably starts around $25,000. But they can go easily. I used to work at Drexel University, which is a private university, and we were about $60,000 a year. So it's a really great way to save money, still get a very high quality education, and it's a really great pathway. This is an example of how much money you can save over 4 years. If you do, like I said, we encourage our students to do the 2+2 program, 2 years at Shoreline, 2 years in university, and you have your bachelor's degree. Same amount of time, but maybe a stronger education. If you went to University of Washington for 4 years, it's around $185,000. If you do 2 years at Shoreline, 2 years at UW, you can save almost $60,000. 4 years at UC Berkeley, around $219,000. If you do 2 years at Shoreline, 2 years at one of the UCs, you can save $74,000. What affects those overall numbers greatly is partly the ranking of the school. Is it public or private? But also the location. Because in fact, the University of California, Berkeley has lower tuition than the University of Washington, but the cost of living is much higher there. So community college can be, and you get the same bachelor's degree diploma at the end of the 4 years if you start there as a freshman or if you start there as a 3rd-year student. So it's a really great way to save money. And also a lot of universities have told us in the past, and we have a great YouTube video about transferring here. And it's on the YouTube page here at Shoreline, saying that students are better prepared, they're able to complete their degree better, and they've saved a lot of money. So like I said, we're all about students at community colleges, and we have many support services to help the students be successful. Like I said, we have very strong GPAs coming out of community college. And it's not because we're easier, but it's because we're more focused on the students. The class sizes are smaller. The professors know if you're having trouble, and all our classes. These are some of our support services that are provided at community colleges, and it really can help the students be very successful. We have very state-of-the-art facilities at community college. Here at Shoreline, we have 3 computer labs. Oops, I'll go back one. We have many community colleges have great sports. Here at Shoreline, our director of athletics is very good at promoting our students, and many of our students, international students, are playing on these sports theme teams. And sometimes are recruited by universities and even get scholarships if they're really good. So sports can be very, and like I said, it also shows student leadership and it helps you get into a top university. We also have lots of art programs at community colleges, and we have facilities designated to those subjects. Great way to experience American holidays and experience American way of life. I love Halloween, so I focused in on Halloween. Another cool thing is, in America, we have something called OPT, Optional Practical Training. And this is only available to international, well, this is a program for international students, giving them opportunity after they graduate from a degree to work for 1 year as an internship. Now, if you do an associate degree, if you come to community college first for your first 2 years, you have an extra opportunity that a student who goes directly to university does not get. So after 2 years, you'll get your associate degree, and then you can apply for OPT, which is a 1 year optional training. A lot of our students, to be honest, only do maybe a summer internship. So you're only allowed to work in America off campus if you have permission from the government, and the OPT is one of those permissions. So if you come to community college and do the 2+2, you could graduate with 2 years of work experience versus students who go directly to university who only get one. This is what Shoreline requires for admission requirements. Like I said, it's pretty standardized, but some community colleges do want a high school diploma, like the ones in California. A lot of, like I said, most schools do not require a TOEFL. Here at Shoreline, we'll take an unofficial transcript because we're pretty much an open admission school, but we do want a serious student. All schools will ask for a proof of finance, college or university, and an application fee. So I'm going to talk about why to choose Shoreline specifically. I think our location is incredible. We have a campus is 34 hectares. We have 26 buildings on our campus, and we're a 20-minute bus ride from downtown Seattle, but in a very safe community. As I pointed out, we're very affordable. It's a great way to save some money, but still get that top-notch ranked university at the end. We have a lot of specialized services in our offices. We have 5 academic advisors just to serve our international students, to help them pick their courses every quarter, to help make sure they're on the right pathway, and to help them figure out what university is best for them. It's a very scary process with like over 4,000 universities and colleges in the United States. And so it's our advisors here, as Lisa used to be one of them, really know the different universities and really can help a student hone in which is the right school for them. Our average class size is 25 students. We have the high school completion program. And like I said, we're all about the student learning. So students can take ESL while they're taking academic classes, and our students are getting into top universities. I'm going to hand this back over to Lisa to talk about Seattle Pacific.
Thanks, Marcy. I was looking at the slide of why to choose Shoreline and thinking that Seattle Pacific's really not all that different. We're just on a university level, but we're also in a great location. We're actually about halfway between Shoreline and downtown Seattle, right on the edge of downtown Seattle, but in a really quiet residential neighborhood, just as Shoreline is. So a lot of similarities there. Seattle Pacific is a private school. We're a private Christian university. We have about just over 3,000 undergraduate students and an additional, about 800 graduate students. So a total of about 4,000. So it's a fairly small university. Our class size is similar to Shoreline. We have about 24 students is the average class size. So as I talked before about all the different choices that students have in the United States in terms of location and the size of the university, this is just one of those types. We're a small university, we're private, and some of the popular majors at SPU include, I would say, engineering and business, which are particularly popular with international students. Communication, psychology, education is a big program at SPU. So lots and lots of different choices for students. We have about 62 majors available. And I'm starting to see some of my former Shoreline students transfer to SPU, so that's been fun for me moving on to that university. So I'll turn this back to Marcy.
Both Lisa and I are welcome to taking any questions you guys have. These are some great networks for students and for advisors. WUSA is our sort of local one in the state of Washington where we network locally. And they both have a lot of resources on their websites and really great information. Um, Here is my contact. This is actually a skyline, a view of the skyline, and we take our students as part of our orientation on a tour of Seattle. I forgot to mention we have about 750 international students here at Shoreline, about 10,000 Americans, and the international students are from about 35 different countries. So feel free to contact me or Lisa with any questions